I've been saying this on YouTube like all week, and people on YouTube like the idea, but I first broached the topic on Twitter last night and it didn't go well. A lot of Jimmy Garoppolo fans still on Twitter, and they were like, wait, excuse me? So I'm going to throw it out to you. Do you think Kyle Shanahan should just open it up to a quarterback competition this offseason? And if he did, do you think Jimmy Garoppolo would win it?
Grant, I got to tell you, man, you are a master of making it happen on the timeline and stirring it up. Right?
It's hard to do in February, but you got to do something, man. You
got to do it, right? So I saw it and I said, you know what? I guarantee tomorrow I'm going to have to talk about this. So I've gathered my thoughts pretty well on this.
Thank you. Hey, let me mute myself. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. So look, I just want to make sure that I'm clear. The potential for Josh Rosen is probably bigger, right? But I
think most people can agree on that.
Yeah, the floor is lower. Same thing with Darnold, right? Here's 2 reasons why this won't happen and he would never win a competition.
Okay.
1, financially, it makes no sense. If you open this up, right, for Jimmy and Rosen, and let's say in a world Rosen outplays Jimmy, and you say Rosen's a starter, $27 million on your bench. Malpractice. Absolute malpractice.
Yeah.
The second thing, if Josh Rosen wins this and you bench Jimmy Garoppolo, you cannot get a thing for Jimmy Garoppolo. Not a thing. Not a thing. No one's going to say, yes, I want to trade for the guy that couldn't beat out Josh Rosen.
Dude, that ship is sailed, man.
Yeah, it's so, and then think about it. If you wait for camp, you've already passed that post-June 1 cap hit. So let's say you cut him. You're going to eat a ton of that money. So look, I love the idea.
He's a good backup quarterback. He has experience in that role.
That's my point, right? Is when I talked about Rosen coming over here, it was just, hey, see what you can get. And if you strike with lightning in a bottle, cool. But as a backup, I have no problem with it. Just there's no way, Grant, that this happens. Ever. You're
right. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Let me just make the case of why it should. I know it's not. And you just laid it out perfectly. All the politics and economics are the reason prevent it from happening. I just feel like if Kyle had the stomach to do it, I think there's a real chance Rosen would win. Let me say why. Look, I've watched Jimmy Garoppolo in every training camp he's been in. He's not a good practice player. He used to have this reputation as being better in the games. I mean, John Lynch just talked about it. He's a field player. He's good when the bullets start flying, yada, yada, yada. Well, that's not really the case anymore either. I mean, it didn't look that way against Arizona this year. So he struggles in practice. He doesn't execute very well. I mean, honestly, Nick Mullins executes better than him in practice. So if that's what Josh Rosen is working against, I think it's an open competition. I think anyone could win. I've never seen Josh Rosen practice in the NFL. So really, I don't know what he can do. And maybe there's some people some beat writers in Miami right now being like, Grant, stop. Dude, you're freaking wrong. You don't know what you're about to see. I don't know. All I know is I've seen Jimmy in practice a lot. And it seems to me that if Nick Mullins can make it look interesting, I'd like to see what Rosen can do.
Yeah, I mean, I've spent a little bit of time trying to watch Rosen because, again, the one thing that I'll always give you credit for is run through the argument both sides.
Yeah.
Even if you're not on one side, run through both. So, okay, I wanted to give Rosen all the benefit of the doubt. Let me take a look, right? Because I wasn't as familiar with his tape on both years. Yeah, like I said, his first game, that's the best game that he's ever had in his career. And then it's just other times you're like, okay, well, is this Mike McCoy? Because remember, when they ran the ball, it was basically David Johnson running into the center's back 35 times.
It was 3 years ago, but I do remember that. And they would show like the run charts. It was like, oh my God, it's just 17 runs in the same direction. Wow, Mike. Yeah. See, I'm telling you, man, if Sam Darnold had Mike McCoy, people be talking about that.
So again, it all boils down to what do you know and what don't you know? And look, maybe God willing next year for training camp, I'll be credentialed and I'll be able to watch Josh Rosen to, play and everything and I'll get to see, but I don't know, man.
Okay, let me have a follow-up question because I don't want this question to be about Rosen. Okay. I want this question to be about Jimmy. Forget Rosen. Should Jimmy have to compete for his job this year if they bring him back with someone of your choice? Or should it, he's making $26 million. We just can't do that.
No, he can't compete, right? You can't put that out there about a competition. If you want to do that internally and not tell anybody, okay, cool. I think if you bring in somebody like Fitzpatrick, you're basically putting yourself with a safety net. Fitzpatrick's going to cost you nothing. You still run Jimmy out there. If he struggles, you can pull him, Or if he gets hurt, you have a capable backup. I don't see them doing a competition. You do a competition like that, and you have basically kicked away any sort of value that you can get for Jimmy Garoppolo. That's it, man. And that's the best way that I could put it.
Devil's advocate argument here. He has no value. That's gone. It's over.
Yeah. I mean, all right. While I would agree with that, and that's a good point, I just feel like there's always 4 or 5 coaches or offensive coordinators that say, let me get my hands on this guy and I can fix him. There's a lot of egos in the NFL. So there's someone out there who thinks, yeah, man.
Where are the offers, man? I don't think the offers are coming. You think he would have to stay healthy for a whole year? He would have to prove a lot. I don't think they. Okay, but I see what you're saying. Look, we'll see. I just feel like for the good of the team, create a competition. For the good of Jimmy, create a competition. If he wins it, great. Because honestly, I don't think I want to see him fight for his job, dude. I'm not sold that he really wants to play football. People say that about Rosen. I see it when I look at Jimmy Garoppolo taking notes. It's like, dude, come on, man. Do you really want to play? Are you going to fight for your job? I'd like to see him fight for it. I think handing it to him is the wrong message. But, I see what you're saying, man. The financials, the politics.
And you have to think about the other guys in that locker room, I think, too. Like, when you do that, how many of those guys – see, I'm not tapped in. I don't know, their opinions, right? But, with a guy who got you, was the quarterback of a team that made the Super Bowl, if you turn around the next year and say Josh Rosen, who has, 10 starts, 12 starts under his belt, we're going to roll with this guy. Think about the guys that are there trying to compete for a championship. Now, what are you telling them? It's like, man, he better do something in practice that makes them feel like this is exactly – like he would have to dominate in practice, like completely dominate to make that happen or dominate on the field. I have a hard time seeing that. Okay. I have a hard time seeing that.